Hello and welcome to our fifth installment of our 2024 Screen Reader Savvy refresh of content. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at some advanced editing within the Microsoft Word desktop application, and a lot of these spill over to other Microsoft Word applications and some other applications in general, at least sometimes. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to start with are key tips. When accessing menus with the Alt key in the Microsoft applications, and not the mouse with the actual Alt key, there are going to be small boxes that have letters or numbers that appear above the ribbon's menu items. These are called key tips. By the way, this should not be confused with something called screen tips. Those are something entirely different, and these terms are not necessarily interchangeable, but I did want to mention that this term does exist, so as a caveat. Key tips provide a visual cue about what key combinations will perform certain actions, but they'll also kind of help with the teacher sitting behind that student with a screen reader and kind of help remind them what to tell a student to do next, especially if there is no screen reader specific shortcut to access the desired action. It can act as sort of a tutor or a help that way. The screen reader user will also have settings within that screen reader that allow it to announce the key tips as the user goes through the options on the menu and in the ribbons. This can often help the user remember the shortcuts, and that'll help them become a more efficient user so that the next time they perform a same action or a specific action, they might remember those tips, especially if it's done multiple times. And if it's an action that's repeated often, hopefully that will help cement that key combination in their heads. Just a little bit more about key tips. All of the examples here that are shown below and in the next slides are taken from the Word 365 desktop app, so not from any of the web applications. The settings might vary depending on how the user's ribbon is set up and the version of Word being used. So these specific tips that might be shown here may not work for everybody, but I did want to provide like a visual on what those tips look like. And here in this screenshot, you can see that above each one of the specific areas of the ribbon, there's a small box containing letters or combination of letters and numbers that perform specific actions as a sort of a cue. Here's an example of how one would insert a numbered list when using key tips. The first step would be to press Alt-H to open up the Home ribbon. The second step would be to press the letter Z followed by P to open the paragraph grouping. Step 3 would be to type N for the numbered list. Once you've pressed the letter N, the menu will expand and show a variety of numbering options. So use Tab to navigate among those options and press Enter to select the one you would like to insert. Just as an FYI, by default, simply typing a number and a period followed by the desired text and pressing Enter will generally start a numbered list in the traditional way, but this is a great method to kind of look at what other numbering options look like in case you'd like to insert things like Roman numerals or other sorts of list items. It's a great idea to know what is available. One of the more advanced features of word processing, and I guess I use the term advanced rather loosely because it's not a super advanced feature, but it's more advanced than what we have been using, is the use of a header. Headers are used at the top of a page and can be running headers, which means that they appear automatically at the top of every page. They can also be different on the first page, such as in the example of a company letterhead or things like that. Some professors of courses might want you to include your name and course title and things like that within a header rather than within the body of a document. And it's important to know how to be able to do that in order to follow those directions and comply with those instructions. So to add a header, you're going to press Alt plus the letter N followed by H to get into the header area of the ribbon. Use up and down arrows or the Tab key, either one, to choose a format for the header that you would like, followed by Enter. Once you press Enter, that header will be added to the document. and you'll be allowed to make changes to it. And once you're done adding that content or editing the header, press Escape and you'll exit that header grouping and be taken directly to the document body. A header can also be edited once it's entered, and that's relatively easily done by pressing Alt plus N followed by H once again to get into that area of the ribbon, but then you'll just press E to jump to Edit. Once you've done that, focus will return to the header and you can modify it however you'd like, and once finished, press Escape to exit the header and work in the document body. In the resources of this video, there is a PowerPoint, and within that PowerPoint is a really nice article that's done by Microsoft that helps kind of lay out that editing within headers and things like that. So I would recommend taking a look at that. Adding a footer. A footer is the same concept as a header, but as you can imagine, it's along the bottom of the document rather than the top. To add a footer, press Alt plus N followed by the letter F. Use your up and down arrows or tab, whichever you would like, to choose a format for the footer that you would like to add and press Enter. Once that's done, the footer will be inserted into the document and you can make edits as desired. When finished, press Escape to exit the footer and work in the document body again. Similar to the header, the user may also choose to edit the footer as desired by pressing Alt plus the letter N, followed by O, and then E to jump to the Edit option. Modify the footer as desired, and again, press Escape to enter the document area and exit the footer. As with header, there is a link in the resource PDF of this in this video that's linked in the description that has a very nice article that has some good information about footers. Before we progress a whole lot further, I want to talk about the styles area. Different styles can be added to your document in a variety of ways, and one way is use of this styles area. To open it, press Alt plus the letter H followed by L. The styles area has a lot of different options for styles that can be added into your document. Navigate those by pressing Tab, and once you have located one to insert, press the Enter key. On this slide is a screenshot of what the styles area looks like. Visually, it looks different to each user depending on what styles have been added or created either by the user or by the user's organization. It's going to look just a little different depending on which ones are frequently used as well as those other options. But it's important to note that it's easy to get to this area and to add styles from this area. We're going to talk about adding a heading as a style from this area in the next slide. To insert a heading from the styles area, again, you'll open it by pressing Alt plus H followed by the letter L and use the Tab key to navigate to the desired heading style and press Enter to insert it into the document. Once the style is added, type the name of the heading. For example, it could be Chapter 1, Chapter 6, whatever you would like that heading to say. But once Enter is pressed, anything typed will be in the default style since headings are a single line style. If you wanted to enter a second heading at that level, you would need to go through these steps again. As the document is navigated using JAWS or NVDA, the screen reader will announce when focus lands on a heading and what heading level it is. It will also announce any style information, such as list or numbered list or title, things like that. There are other methods to insert headings or apply styles. To add a heading at level 1, 2, or 3, use the following key commands. Adding a level at heading level 1, Alt, Control, plus the number 1 on the number row. Adding heading level 2 is Alt, Control, plus the number 2. And heading level 3 can be added using Alt, Control, plus the number 3. There are also other ways to add styles. Press Ctrl plus Shift plus the letter S to open the Apply Styles dialog, and choose a style from the drop-down menu, or you can type the name of a style and press Enter, and it will auto-complete. The dialog will remain open and can be accessed by pressing F6 and navigating that dialog using a Tab key. We'll talk a little bit more about the F6 key as we progress. You may need to check the word count in a specific document, either to ensure that you have not exceeded a specific number of words or characters, or to make sure that you meet a criterion. There are a couple of ways to check the word count in a document, and the first one is from the status bar. We said that F6 would come into play again, and that is true here. Tap your F6 key until the screen reader announces status bar. It should only be once unless you have that styles menu open from the previous slide. In any case, press F6 until status bar is announced. Once there, press the Tab key until the word count is announced. To return to editing the document, press F6 or Shift F6 or Escape until focus is returned to the document body. The screen reader will tell you when that happens. As with everything, there's a second way to check the word count, and that's by opening the word count dialog box. Plus Alt plus R to navigate to the Review tab in the ribbon, and then press the letter W to open the word count dialog. Below is shown how that would be accomplished, and a screenshot of that area of the ribbon. The word count dialog provides a lot more information about the word count, including the number of characters, paragraphs, and lines. However, it can't really be navigated by using the Tab key effectively. So you're going to need to press Insert plus the letter B, or the Screen Reader Modifier key plus the letter B, which is the same for both JAWS and NVDA, to read the dialog box. Shown here is the first verse of the Star Spangled Banner, as well as a word count dialog box next to it. And as you can see from that, it lets you know the number of pages, words, characters with and without spaces, paragraphs, and lines. And it allows you to have a checkbox that would allow you to include text boxes and footnotes and endnotes in that word count. Very few people really need that much detail. This should get you relatively close to what your needs are, though. And that's it for this section. I hope this was helpful for you, and thank you so much for joining us.